Hi YouTube, welcome to Pagan Perspective. This is Megan, aka Spiritory, and today is Friday. Hi YouTube, welcome to Pagan Perspective. I am Megan, aka Spiritory. Today is Black Friday in the USA, and I am actually filming this the night before, so it is still Thanksgiving where I am. And actually, I think a lot of people are already celebrating Black Friday because I am getting used to this time difference in Hawaii. It's like everybody's so far ahead of me in time that they've already started all of their festivities. So I'm sort of getting used to that a little bit. But actually, holidays is very apropos for what we're talking about today. So what we are actually talking about is our own holidays. Do we do any special rites, any special holidays, particular to our tradition or something like that, or anything really that we've created for ourselves or for our families? So as you know, if you've been watching this channel, you know I'm a hereditary and not something I can really share. So it's not something I can talk about. However, I'm going to try and give you a general overview of sort of a couple of things that I can share. So one of the things that this immediately made me think about is what we just actually experienced this past Sunday. So last year, if you remember me talking about it, I had a huge Samhain dinner for friends and family. It was gigantic, like 20 people coming over, and it was amazing. I was all vegan as well, and it was just so much fun. We had an absolute blast, and people of all different faiths, and not just practicing, but you know, people who believe completely different things as well, but they all came, and it was all really amazing and special. And that kind of became a tradition. And so when we got here, it was a little bit difficult because we didn't have that friend group all around us to be able to pull from. So we did have a few friends, but we weren't able to do a traditional Samhain dinner because just of time. Everyone was already busy, they already had plans. And so what we ended up doing is a dinner last Sunday. And we call it Samhain-Giving. So it was really fun and had a blast. It was much smaller, but again, all vegan, which is super important to me because, you know, as a pagan, and when I present myself here, this is my pagan perspective. Pagan is who I am. And so, you know, my food choices, my political leanings, all of those things are closely intertwined with who I am religiously. So my religion isn't just one aspect of me that doesn't touch other things. So when I talk about my pagan perspective on something, so my view of the world is going to be, you know, influenced by all these other things in my life. What's going on politically, what's going on food-wise, how I feel about, you know, a particular TV show. You know, all these things are going to kind of filter in. And so, you know, when you're watching my videos, you're going to have a very holistic view of my life. And I can't cut something out. I can't cut out, you know, something political from talking about a religious thing, because so many of those things are intertwined. Just as like for me, you know, talking about being vegan is intensely religious and very personal to me, and very important. So, you know, for me, it's a super big deal, and it's been so wonderful to be able to share that with people. I've had these Samhain dinners now, vegan Samhain dinners, for so long, and now with this vegan Samhain-Giving dinner, which really combined the best of both worlds. It combined, you know, honoring the ancestors and having, you know, sharing a meal with friends, at the same time being grateful. It was amazing. It was really, really beautiful, and we had such an amazing time. And we got to pass on the vegan message as well, in that, hey, this is food. Good food is good food. It doesn't matter if it's vegan or not. Like, it doesn't mean that everyone has to switch to being vegan, but the idea is, you know, there are some people who like to say, oh, well, I can't eat that stuff, or, oh, I don't like that. And it's like, oh, but you haven't tried it. And good food's good food, no matter what kind of food it is. If it's good, it's good. Now, that doesn't mean that they can't go eat something when they go home, but they were very, very satisfied and had a blast. And so we had such an amazing time, and it was so wonderful. So that was really special. And actually, I got to thinking a little bit about, and we've been talking a little bit about, you know, what would we do for Halloween with kids? Because we're looking at having kids soon, and one of the things that that has come up, in fact, Another Hawaii, Maui YouTuber, Mango Island Mama, she has a whole video about this switch witch thing that she does on Halloween for her kids. Now, she's not pagan, I don't believe, or anything like that, but she does this switch witch in order to switch out the candy that isn't vegan and isn't healthy for her kids, and switch it out for toys and stickers and healthy vegan treats. And her kids just love it. You can see from the video, it's amazing. So we talked about, like, oh, well, how would we kind of incorporate that and make sort of a little bit of a game out of it, because we have Samhain traditions, of course, but we also want, kids to have some secular activities as well, because really, Halloween has become a secular holiday in a lot of ways. We have Samhain, some people also Hallows and All Hallows, even things like that, but really Halloween has become an American secularized holiday. I think it is celebrated in some other countries too, but it's more by choice. I don't know if it's really over the entire country. So it's become this just traditional secular thing, sort of like Thanksgiving. It's not really religious. And so one of the fun things about it is that you get to dress up. I mean, most of you know on here, I do Renaissance fairs and I do Comic-Cons and all sorts of stuff. And I love dressing up, and so does my wife. And so we want to be able to dress up with our kids. I think it's going to be awesome, and they're going to love it too, just by sheer fact that we love it so much. And so we don't want to lose that part of the holiday and celebrating it in that trick-or-treating aspect. And so we were talking about, like, ways that we might have the kids be vegan, which is what we want, and at the same time be able to still celebrate. And so the switch witch is such a great idea, and we really love it. And so this concept is that you go around and you get candy, and she changed it up this year from last year so that there wouldn't be so much waste, and so we still have to work some kinks out. But the general idea is that you get the candy, they go around trick-or-treating, and then you leave out the candy that night, and then overnight the switch witch comes, sort of like Santa, comes and switches out the candy for healthy vegan treats and toys and things like that, which I thought was so awesome. And so she did a couple little tweaks to it and gave the houses the vegan treats ahead of time this time so that there wouldn't be any waste. So they just gave them. But I just love the idea in general of this switch witch, of this idea that we have sort of these mythical figures when it comes to different holidays, like Santa Claus, and this idea that the kids, well, they have the Tooth Fairy, they have Santa Claus, and in some case Befana as well. And so this idea that they're able to have something else coming in that is going to give them what they can eat and what in their house they do eat. And I love that idea. So I think that creating your own holiday and making it work for your family is so important. And I think the biggest thing is talking about it first. So if you're gonna change up a tradition or create a new tradition, talk it out. Actually, like, sit down and go, all right, how is this gonna work? What's gonna happen? Like, if they ask this question, what are we gonna say? Because if you plan it out first, then it's not gonna feel so overwhelming when it happens, and you're already gonna know what you're gonna do. Especially if you're planning on having kids. Talk about each holiday. Talk about, all right, well, how do we want to do this? How would we want to, arrange who we go to for what holiday? Do we want to split it up and do, each family in one day so they each get a few hours? Or do we want to have one year it's this family, one year it's that family? Those sort of things can be really important. And also creating your own traditions, deciding on some things that you want to really introduce and have as kind of something to build on tradition. I mean, some traditions will just kind of organically happen and naturally happen, but other ones, you have to actually start it. You have to have something that begins the tradition. One thing that I love is my mother started, that her mother started as well. We've always had trees. We've always had solstice trees. Tree is intrinsically pagan, and my family loves ornaments. Ornaments are so important to us. Because the idea is that it's a miniature representation of a memory, a part of your life, a moment in your life. It is an object, a vessel then, that becomes imbued with the intent and the feeling from which it came. So, for example, I loved Barbie dolls as a little kid, so I have a lot of ornaments that memorialize my love of Barbies and how much that I played with them and things. My mother, I gave her a gumball machine because she had one as a little girl and it broke, and so I gave her this little gumball machine ornament. And it's super important. Each one has a story, and each one you can talk about, and you can tell, you know, the next generation, okay, this one does this, and this one was because of this, and this one because of this, and it's so important. And so every year, my mother, for solstice, gives us an ornament, and it's so important because there's always a story behind it, and there's always a reason why we have that particular ornament, and there's a memory associated with it. And so that's a tradition that I definitely want to pass on. But she had to create that. You know, her mother kind of gave it to her, but she had to continue it on with us, me and my brother, and it was just this beautiful thing that we would always get this ornament that meant so much to us. So those were just a few little special things and special traditions, and I would love to hear what you do, and you know, what you guys think about traditions, and if there's any that you're creating for yourselves, or ideas maybe about the Switch Witch. We haven't decided yet how we're going to do it, but just very intrigued about this idea, the Switch Witch. I just love it. I love the name, and who knows, we'll have to tweak it and figure out a right way to make it work, but it definitely is an awesome idea. And I love doing our Friendsgiving. I think that was really, really fun, and it just was super, super enjoyable, and we're really starting to build a little bit of a family out here, which is awesome. So yeah, so that is it for this week, guys, and I think next week should be subs week, probably. If not, you'll see me. If it is, then you'll see the subs. All right, guys. So I hope for everybody in the USA who celebrates, you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I hope that if you are somewhere else and you have decided to celebrate, you know, Thanksgiving, that you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. And if you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, I hope you had a wonderful week. And yeah, I think that's it, guys. And as always, blessed be and aloha.